small but elite crowd. Everything is inspired by the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who's the founder and charter of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Om Maganati Manandasyan Ganagana Salakya Chaksuram Miritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Sayam Rupa Karamayam Nirati Swaparantikam. Today we're going to talk about Krishna being the God of acceleration. We'll start with a little history. Some of you might be interested because most of you have been coming for a while. In 1981, my Bobby and I put a down payment on the radio station, 5 acres of land adjacent to this property here. That had a 10-year mortgage. Payments were $1,500 a month. So we paid the mortgage from 81 to 91. The entire decade, this land, a higher piece of land, a bigger piece of land, had a for sale sign on it for 10 years. For 10 years, this land had a for sale sign on it. It was owned by the Catholic Church. I had called them out of curiosity a couple times. Not that we could afford it, because remember, we were still paying our $1,500 a month. There was a lady in charge of the real estate. Her name was Barbara Gladowski. So I'd ask her, how much is it? She said, $95,000. I said, is there any room for negotiation? She said, no. He said, would the church consider owner financing? She said, no. Our conversation was just like 3 questions, 3 no's. And I did that maybe twice or 3 times during those 10 years. We had no credit with which we would qualify for a loan, no personal guarantor. So I was thinking that if we saved our money for 10 years and no one bought it in the meantime, we could acquire the property. This is 10 years moving forward from 1991. But it was highly unlikely. The property had already sat unsold for the last 10 years, which is like impossible. There's no way that in the next 10 years, no one's going to buy it. So I put it out of my mind, thinking that land is so close, it's so tempting. We could do a lot with that land. Maybe even build a temple there. But it's way beyond our means. And then one day, can the kids be a little quieter? Then one day, I felt a stirring on the inside. And I called the church real estate office once again, out of the blue. What happened? Barbara Godowski had retired, and a young man named Rick Salviti had taken over. We got to talking. Turns out he's from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. I'm from Stallstown, Pennsylvania. Stallstown is a little crossroads, which has maybe 100 people in it. Beaver Falls is 10 miles down the road, which has maybe 50 people in it. If that name rings a bell to you, it's not because of the huge population, because Frank Lloyd Wright, the famous architect, built his most famous residence there called Falling Waters. We hit it off. At that time, their diocese was looking to raise some quick money, and he had been instructed to sell off some property quickly. Long story short, we got the land at a $20,000 reduction. It's 8.5 acres for $75,000. And the Catholic Church offered to owner finance. Now here's my point. What seemed impossible after 20 years, Krishna not only made it happen, but he made it happen. I was thinking maybe because $1,500 a month is staying home and we saved up, maybe if the land was not purchased in another 10 years, by say 2001, we might have enough to put a down payment on. But what probably wouldn't have happened even after 10 years, Krishna made it happen 9 months and 11 months sooner. What happened there? He shifted us into high gear. He took us further, faster than we could have imagined. Because of that, we're all sitting here in this beautiful temple in Spanish Fork. It opened 23 years ago now. So we're living in an age where it seems like everything, including the things that Krishna's doing, are speeding up. And if you're chanting the Lord's name and honoring him, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, I'm putting you on notice that he will do in a fraction of the time what might have been impossible for you to accomplish even after a decade. At least that's my experience. In your career, maybe it would take you 20 years to work your way up into management, 20 years to build up your business. No, because you're chanting the holy names of the Lord and putting him first place, things have shifted. Krishna will give you breaks that you didn't see coming, that you didn't even deserve. Bring the right people across your path. Give you opportunities like you've never had before. In other words, he'll take you further, faster. Let's say that together. Further, faster. Further, faster. Get those two words down in your spirit. It may look like in the natural, it'll take you years to get out of debt, years to get over that chronic illness, years to get out of the financial hole that you're in, years to resolve that legal situation, years, if ever, for your child to get back on course and start making better decisions. But no, I'm telling you, because you've been faithful, get ready. You're coming into a shift of gears. Think of it as a car. When you shift, right, from the first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, the engine's not running any faster. It's running exactly the same speed. It's not even working any harder. But all of a sudden, you're going so much faster. You're covering so much more ground. That tells us that the higher gears have greater capacity. They're designed to go faster. So in the same way, because you've kept the creator of millions and millions of universes first place, he's going to shift you into a higher gear. And as such, you'll go faster, further, not because you're working harder, not because you're trying to make it all happen, foaming at the mouth. No, you're putting forth the same effort, just being your best every day, all day, 365 days a year, and all of a sudden, you get a good break that thrusts you years down the road. You get a promotion that you weren't necessarily qualified for. You look up and think, how in the world did I get here? It should have taken me another 10 years. But here I am. The medical report said it would take me 5 years to recover, but I did it in a month. It should have taken me most of my career to work up from the mailroom into management. But here I am at the age of 28. It should have taken 10 years to be able to buy enough land for a temple. It took us 1 month. What is that? Because you've honored the Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna's taking you further, and he's taking you faster. This is called acceleration. It will not take you as long to accomplish your goals as you thought. It will not take you as long to get out of that problem as it looks, because Almighty God, Creator, millions and millions of universes, is breathing in the direction of his devotees. He's causing things to fall into place for his devotees. The right people will be drawn to you. Good breaks, opportunities, healing, restoration, favor. It's not business as usual. You've come into a shift with the devotees. It's business as unusual. Krishna is saying, be faithful during the tough times. Tough times are an opportunity to exhibit above and beyond radical faith. What should have finished you, if you pass the test, is going to launch you. And when that favor comes, it's going to come sooner than you thought. Krishna is going to shift things in your favor. He's going to accelerate things for you. What should have taken you perhaps even as long as a lifetime to accomplish, he'll do it in a split second of the time. Now, the key is, what do you think? Don't talk yourself out of it. Well, I don't know, Drew. I don't have the seniority. I don't know the right people. I have all these college loans, this debt to pay off. I think I've gone as far as I can. With this inflation, I might even get laid off my job. Our encouragement today is be a believer, not a doubter. You may not see a way, but Krishna always has a way. Our attitude should be, Krishna, I'm in agreement with you. I believe things have shifted in my favor. I believe that you're taking me further, faster. I will accomplish my dreams sooner than I think. I will overcome these problems quicker than normal. And when you have that kind of faith, the Almighty Lord Krishna will open doors that no man can shut, connect you to the right people. His favor will thrust you years down the road. It is said that the great breakthroughs, if you think about it, in modern science, medicine, technology, art, and literature, they haven't come from the plodders, the middle-of-the-roaders, the mediocre, the unimaginative, the victims, the persons who know all the rules, have they? No, they've come through the visionaries, the intuitive minds in touch with the creative spirit who lives in the cavity of their heart. His name is Krishna. They come from those that catch a glimpse of a new truth intuitively and begin to put it into a formula that others can understand. I read the story about a man who knew Albert Einstein. He bumped into the old scientist who seemed a little distracted at the moment, walking through the Princeton campus. And all of a sudden, Einstein snapped his fingers and he raised his hand. He says, I got it. I got it. It came to me. It came to me. The guy had no idea what he was talking about. He ran off somewhere, writing something down in a pad, some new insight, perhaps about the subnuclear world, and just fallen into his intuitive mind, just as a gift from above. Now he was ready to think more about it, develop it, formalize it, and share it with humankind. There's something that happens in the subconscious, in the level of intuition, the unconscious mind, that touches upon God and is touched by God. There is something in the depths of my soul that knows truth and it knows reality in a direct, palpable way. And it's to our great jeopardy that we neglect this, because it is the most important of all of our capacities. When we neglect that intuition, the world loses its vision and the people perish. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, God, has a psychic channel open between himself and each and every one of his children. It's never closed except when we shut it down. When we take ourselves away from being able to receive the transmissions of the Lord. We're too distracted by our gadgets and our gadgets. But God is always reaching out. He's always transmitting, but we're not always receiving. That's the problem. And he says, if we start to receive, don't worry if the problem seems too big, if the giants seem too insurmountable. Krishna says, I preserve what they have, and I carry what they lack. All we have to do is just honor the Lord. And as a result of that, the right people will find us. They'll pick you out of a crowd. They'll knock on your door. They'll come chasing after you. Just honor Krishna, and the right ideals will come to you. Krishna will awaken talents and abilities that you didn't even know you had. Even as far as your funds are going. Funds are not a problem. Krishna is no poor man. In touch with Krishna, taking the time out to chant his holy names and glorify him every day, I predict that you will accomplish much, much more in much, much less time. That you'll be promoted by the grace of the Lord beyond your education. You'll increase beyond your experience. The right people will help you go where you could not go on your own. Just honor Krishna and let him take care of the West. People will knock on your door. People will chase you down. In 1965, when Prabhupada brought Krishna consciousness to the United States, none of his 4,500 disciples were what you would call management material. They were mostly part of the turn on, tune in, and drop out culture. Anti-authority, anti-government, anti-war, anti-racism, anti-business. Myself, I left the country, dropped out, I suppose you'd say. 1967, I went to Europe, went to the Canary Islands, lived 6 months in Paris, lived a year in Israel working on a kibbutz, lived in Thailand, lived in Bali, met my wife in Singapore, traveled through Malaysia, and then 5 years in Australia. I lived on beaches, I picked tomatoes, I tutored English, I sold medical pills in Thailand, traveled all over the world, never had more than $200 in my pocket at any point in time. But we, who later became Prabhupada's disciples, we had been looking, we had been searching for meaning, for purpose in our lives. And even though we weren't engaged in anything profitable or meaningful or constructive, what we'd done was we kept ourselves available because we knew there was something better than what our fathers and our grandfathers were offering us. And when we met our spiritual master, Prabhupada, he literally saved us, took us from the bottom to the top, from the back to the front. In other words, he took us what? Further and faster than we could have ever imagined. And now, myself and what few of us are still alive, are still vertical, are guiding a worldwide organization with more than 800 temples, farms, and restaurants. And within 10 years, we'll all be gone. And that whole burden, responsibility will be passed down to another generations who themselves will be ill-prepared for it, ill-trained, and not have earned it much more than we did. The qualification has been, is, and will be a willingness to act as an instrument to fulfill God's purposes on earth. A willingness to allow Krishna to make us and mold us according to his plans for good for all living beings. And we express that willingness, guess how? By chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you too will chant as a regular daily practice and thereby take the limits off of Krishna, you'll see him show up and show out in your life in amazing ways. You'll look around and say, how in the world did I get to where I am? I'm not the most qualified, but I'm running the company. I'm not the most talented, but they asked me for advice. I never went to seminary, or cemetery, some people call it, but I've got a pretty big church. Or it should have taken me until I retired, but I've already paid my house out. Can I tell you, one touch of Krishna's favor can put you 30 years down the road. One phone call, one good break, one promotion, one inheritance, one connection can make a huge difference. Well, you say, Charu, you're just getting everyone's hopes up. I don't believe that Krishna will accelerate things in my life. I don't believe that this will happen to me. Well, I agree with you. You're probably 100% right. In fact, if you want to leave right now, I could tell you this talk is not for you. This is for this is for believers, for those who will rise up and say, yes, Krishna, I know that you're the God of acceleration. If you've done it in the past, you're doing it in the present, and I'm sure you're going to do it again. If you, for us, took a 10-year process and accomplished it in literally a split second, I know that you can continue to accelerate things in my life as long as I live. I know that you can trust me years and years ahead. In the old days, things went at a much slower pace. Horse and wagon. But in these times, Krishna's accelerating things literally at the speed of light compared to what they were like even 50 years ago. And so what that means for believers is, for those who put their trust in him, for those who honor him, then Krishna is also going to accelerate our spiritual progress, accelerate us in our walk for the Lord. He'll give his devotees good breaks. He'll open doors. He'll promote them beyond their qualifications, cause them to stand out in a crowd. He will let his face to shine down on you, and you will accomplish goals if you believe it that you never thought possible. And it may be true to say that right now in your life you feel you're not even up to the level of your contemporaries. You may feel that even in certain areas your contemporaries, those with whom you went to high school or college, have outstripped you, have passed you. Maybe right now you don't feel where you are, where you're supposed to be. Like maybe you're so as morbid as to think that the nails are already halfway in your coffin. You still have those big dreams, but they've gathered so much dust on the shelf for so many years. You've started to get discouraged. You've started to think, maybe my best days are behind me. Maybe they won't happen. But our purpose tonight is to challenge you. Keep doing your best. Day in, day out. Live a life that honors Krishna. And I tell you, he has more than the capability of making up for lost time. He can thrust you further than you can even ask, imagine, or think. What is that? You're coming into a shift. Krishna can bring the one right person, the one right ideal across your path. We don't need to have everyone's approval. We don't need to have everyone's help. We just need that one who is in everyone's heart and for whom nothing is impossible. He's guiding everybody's steps, my steps, the steps even of my enemies. He can bring about the accomplishment of my dreams in a split second, something that would have otherwise taken a whole lifetime. Well, Charu, this won't happen to me. I never get any good breaks. Not with that attitude. It's definitely not going to happen. If you harbor thoughts of mediocrity and lack all day and night, don't expect to have joy in your life. Don't expect to have abundance. You can't talk defeat and expect to have victory. You're prophesying your own future with those negative, defeatist words. Now, if you want to see the shift that I'm talking about occur in your life, you have to, first of all, get into agreement with Krishna and say, yes, Krishna, count me in. Bring it on. You have lined up the right people. They're already out there in my future, and I want to thank you now that you will help me accomplish my dreams sooner than I thought. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I read recently that the Chinese bamboo plant barely shows its head above ground for the first 4 years after you've planted it. You don't see anything happening. Yeah, you watered it. You put it in good ground. You fertilized it. You made sure it's getting sunlight. But for 4 long years, it seems like you're just wasting your time. But what you can't see is that underneath the ground is developing a massive root system. Roots are spreading out in every direction. And in the 5th year, once those roots are properly established, that plant will take off and shoot as high as 80 feet in the air, 0 to 80, in the last 12 months of the 5th year. Similarly, many of us have been faithful. We've given, we've served, we've chanted, we've helped others, we've donated. You've sown a lot of seeds, but you haven't to date seen much visible progress. Krishna's been good to you. You don't lack for anything, but some or other those dreams haven't sprouted up yet. You're grateful, but Nothing particularly out of the ordinary has occurred. So far, our message is that you've lived those years on the equivalent level of developing roots. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Day in and day out, you were showing Krishna that you were going to be faithful to him. You were proving to him that you would do the right thing when it's easy, and you would do the right thing when it's hard. So now, putting you on notice, you need to prepare. Krishna is saying, through my mouth, if you've been faithful, you're coming into your 5th year. You're about to see a shift into a higher gear that will take you to levels beyond your income, beyond your training, beyond your experience. It may happen suddenly, or it may happen after some time, but our message is stay open. When your 5th year comes, the good breaks are going to find you. The right people are going to search you out. Opportunity will come knocking in your door. The 5th year is harvest time. The 5th year is favor time. You will reap all those seeds that you've sown throughout the years. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nothing you've ever given to Krishna, either in terms of time or money or creativity, has ever gone unnoticed. Every seed, every sacrifice, every mantra you've chanted, every morning you've gotten up, every time you've offered your food, every time you've opened the Bhagavad Gita, every time you've ever told a friend about the temple, every talk you've ever listened to here in person or on Zoom or on the radio or on the television, every service you've attended, every bit of time and energy you've spent, Krishna has permanently noted and recorded that nothing has been lost or forgotten by the Lord. He keeps perfect and complete account. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks specifically about shifting us into high gear in this life, not just in the sweet by and by. Because you have been faithful, Krishna says there is a harvest stored up. Krishna declares himself, he's about to release everything that belongs to you, and it will happen sooner than you think. When it happens, it will be bigger than you imagined. Krishna will bring out gifts and talents that you didn't even know you had. He'll open up new doors of opportunity. This 5th year is when Krishna is going to shoot you up higher than you ever dreamed. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It took Prabhupada 70 years to put down his roots. It took him a lifetime of preparation before he even boarded that boat to go halfway across the world to America. 70 years to put down his roots. During those 70 years, Prabhupada and Krishna grew the roots of ISKCON. By the time he passed away in 1977, he had already established the roots, the books, the publishing, the morals, the regular principles, the devotees, which would enable ISKCON to grow and flourish for another 10,000 years. What was visible was not that impressive, just 108 temples, mostly small rented buildings and storefronts. But in the 5th year, now there are 800 temples growing almost daily, restaurants, temples, schools, festivals all over the world, a worldwide federation that's multiplying and exploding because of the root system that Prabhupada laid down, first of all, in the first 70 years of his life and in the first 12 years that he worked in America before passing away. So just like with Prabhupada, because you've been faithful, there may be problems that you've struggled with for decades. They are going to suddenly resolve. Krishna will cause things to suddenly fall into place. The right people will show up. You will see acceleration. Let me declare it. It will not take another lifetime to accomplish your dreams. but will happen in a fraction of the time. So get up every morning and say, Krishna, thank you, Lord, for taking me further, faster. If you do this, I believe divine connections are coming your way. Ideas, creativity, talents, abilities that you didn't know you had. What should have taken you 60 years, you'll accomplish in just a fraction of that time. Because you've honored God, He will take you further, faster in this life. And the next life, He'll take you back to home, back to Godhead. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and invite you to raise your arms with me and say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we actually have a special treat for you today. Let's see, where is it? Bear with me a second before we do arti. We actually have a song, if I can find it here. Here is
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When you honor Krishna with a faith that's true and bold, the Lord shifts gears from low to high. What should have taken decades now unfolds. Distant dreams suddenly come close. Further, faster, Krishna's power shines. In a fraction of time, He aligns career paths rise. Opportunities unfold. Temples open, books get written, songs composed. The right people show up, bright ideas grow. Get ready, shifts are coming, hold on tight. Radical faith will launch you into light. Tough times test, but Krishna's hand will guide. What seems impossible will quickly subside. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Further, faster, Krishna's power shines. In a fraction of time, He aligns career paths rise. Career paths rise, opportunities unfold. Temples open, books get written, songs composed. The right people show up, bright ideas grow. Don't doubt, believe, for Krishna holds the key. He opens doors of destiny, you'll see. The subconscious knows a truth so deep and grand. When we connect to God, this world will understand. Don't doubt, believe, for Krishna holds the key. He opens doors, a destiny you'll see. The subconscious knows a truth so deep and grand. When we connect to God, this world will understand. Further, faster, Krishna's power shines. In a fraction of time, He aligns, Huracanes rise. trust in Krishna. His grace will set you free. A life abundance, a destiny to be. Further, faster, he will lead the way. Believe the master, chant his name, and enjoy his playful games. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thanks for joining us. Going today for the first time to the 40th verse in the 5th chapter.
That's something else.
This is a verse that I chant every morning on the invitation. These, therefore, describe the Almighty Lord's activity, which you have learned by your vast knowledge and faith, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men, and at the same time mitigate the miseries of the masses. Common people who are always suffering from material pain. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such. Now, Narada Muni himself was not a scholar.
Huh?
It's your song? It's your song? It's your words?
With the help of some AI, yeah.
It's okay, but it's your words?
Mm-hmm.
Can I hear it? Am I,
Yeah, I can send it to you. Just give me your email address. I can send it to you. Yeah.
it's very good. I don't have many words in English.
What's that?
I don't have many words in English.
You could listen to Krishna conscious songs. It'd be a good way to
I want
improve your English.
translate in Russian and understand.
Yeah, just send me your email address. I'll send the transcript, the words, and music and everything.
Thank